The Spin-off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Oh, do we need a funny for the top?
Oh,
Chain's back. The chain's back.
Yeah,
Is it?
it's going to stay back.
Thank you. Kia ora koutou, welcome to The Real Pod. What do we do now that Celebrity Treasure Island is over? We rank all the contestants.
well, all from the new wave.
Yes,
we
the
should
new
make
wave.
that clear. This is from 2019 to 2022.
That was hard enough.
Simply because we have a terrible history of archiving our reality television. If New Zealand On Screen had all of the previous seasons from the early 2000s, I think we'd be doing it.
True.
Yeah, they don't.
But they don't. So just the new wave, which are referred to as season 1, 2 and 3. So, you know.
We're ranking the reboot.
Yeah, we're ranking the reboot. My name's Jane Yee. I'm joined by Alex Casey and Duncan Grieve. Hello.
Hello.
Kia ora.
And also by Samuel, who's sitting behind the desk doing the recording things.
Kia ora.
How are you? Are you finding it okay here, by the way?
Yes, I'm loving it here. The spin-off is truly a magical place where dreams come true. Am I right, Duncan?
So right.
And don't you think that
So
people
right,
should sign
Samuel.
up to become spin-off members?
Members, I love members. Members are my favourite.
Click that.
They're really good people. We need them.
Join the chat. You will no doubt have some things to say about our order of rankings of these contestants in the Discord.
This is a cool new format. We're experimenting with it. Like we should foreground that we're sort of breaking with the historical shambles that has been the Real Pod to try a few sort of one-off spectaculars. You're making a stink face, Jane. Let's be
You're
honest.
speaking too soon.
I think it's
Yeah?
going to be a spectacular shambles.
But this is indicative of where we're wanting to take the podcast. Please come on the journey with us.
Wow, that was a fold on the Real Pod. That was great. I
And
loved
our
it.
big idea, a list.
There's some semblance of organisation. Hopefully we can stick to it.
We had a meeting.
We did have a meeting today. We will be going through contestants ranked from number 58 to number 21, and then in next week's episode we'll do the top 20. We'll dig in a little further on those, so we need to allow them a little more time, because some of the people in the top 58 to 21 can't really remember them.
Real trip down memory lane. Real thrashing Google yesterday.
Should we do like a big honking disclaimer about what we are and aren't ranking about these people?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is entirely within the world of the show. We're not bringing in their outside lives.
No.
Their careers, their
No.
sirs or dames. It doesn't matter. But they do quite well.
But I mean, for real, all we're going on is the edit. Like, it's not even necessarily what happened out there. It's just what came across on screen. And we've got, Jane put together a spreadsheet.
I did some formulas.
At 7:58 p.m. on a Friday night,
Oh
you
my
slacked
God.
us that Excel spreadsheet.
That is very
and that is a
sad.
violation of the spin-off
HR.
code.
Look, it was important to do. I
was.
wanted to start off with a base because I just didn't know where to start. There's 58 names. There were lots of hazy memories. And I thought from a very base level, we can work out where they came in the competition. And that involved some serious maths, because in one competition there were 16 cast members and in the other two there were 21. So I had to do it on a percentage ratio and then assign points. Anyway, I came up with a big old list, and we used that as a starting point, but we changed it dramatically because where they came in the competition is not really what we're interested
It's
in.
borderline irrelevant, as it turns out.
We are, of course, interested in a little bit of gameplay, but mostly in entertainment and memorable moments. And obviously, as well, that just that opportunity for people to come from a distant celebrity past and reinvent themselves on screen in all manner of ways, as we'll discuss. So shall we?
Or are we going to do real news?
Okay.
And talk about
And here's the new and improved Real Pod.
Do you want to do real news, Alex? You got some news?
My real news is just that last night I had
Hang on, Sting. And now you're good.
We're slicker than ever, baby. I went to watch the spin-off Social Netball Team play last night. Very thrilling. Unfortunately, one of the attacks, Duncan Grieve, got pulled up by the ref quite early on for wearing a humongous gold chain on the court.
How did they see it?
Well, it took an eye out.
Blinded by the
she was
light.
bouncing.
And so I got it handed to me through the netting of the court into my hands. It was heavy and it was sodden.
Yeah, I do feel bad about that latter part.
Sodden.
I'm not going to apologise about the weight, but I am going to apologise for making you handle my excretions.
I was not there, but I know that you delicately laid it out in a flat line next to yourself on the little spectators bench
It
there.
was the only thing left to do. We had to dry it out.
And I know this because you took a selfie with it and sent it to me. It was a live photo.
Oh, it always is.
Yeah, and so I could actually hear you going, "Send it to Jane."
Oh,
Gotta
really?
send it to Jane.
Did I say that?
Something like that. Anyway,
That's
I
nice.
loved every aspect of it.
Fun fact, my on-court plus minors went from like +2 to like +20 after the chain. I think the chain was holding me
know
back.
what to say.
I don't. That was a whole
That
nother
means
language.
it was a tight game. That's a sort of basketball-y, advanced analytics. And by the end, we just blew them out by like 20 points. So, that's good information for me that I keep the chain on at all times except for both legal and kind of spiritual reasons at indoor netball.
The chain was weighing you down, literally.
Yeah.
And metaphorically.
I did think if I had had a $2 shop replica, I could have done an Ocean's 8. I could have swapped them out.
How do we
'Cause
know-
I was trying to look at the carrots on that.
How do we know that you didn't? How do we know that you didn't? How do you know that
Just
what
don't
around your
know.
neck right now is real or not real?
Just got this like weird rash. this morning.
Can you tell me about Mr. Organ?
Yes. So we went along last night, Alex and I, to the premiere, and I actually had David Farrier on the fold yesterday. So Mr. Organ is a story that's like at least 6 years in the making. It began with a series of stories on the spin-off, which listeners will probably have some awareness of if they've been in our orbit for a while. It started with basically a fun, slightly sinister social media story about some clamping, and then evolved into this like intense psychological cat and mouse drama between David Farrier, maker of Tickled and Dark Tourist, be familiar to listeners for sure, and Michael Organ, this very strange character, claims to be a count associated with this antique store, very expensive clamper. And
Car clamper, to be clear.
Well, we don't know, but definitely car clamper. And we went to the film last night. It's incredible. It's like, for the first half, it's very funny, unexpectedly so. And then the latter part, it's just this long, drawn-out kind of psychological siege. And, yeah, I mean, you kind of got to see it. It's a very strange world.
Yeah, it's out this week, so November 10th, depending on when you're listening to this, if that's to come or if it's already been, maybe it's already out. But it's also got these amazing festival credentials. It's at Fantastic Fest, Beyond Fest, Brisbane Film Fest, and also the Festival of Your Own Mind and Eyes when you go and watch it.
I've definitely still been thinking about it since I left, There's some certain moments that just stick. There were moments, I don't know if you had them, but I went, oh my God, like just had a visceral screaming kind of, oh my God
You did.
moments.
Can confirm.
And Peter Gordon was there, which I think is relevant.
Most important
The premiere, not
question,
in the film.
were the candles on the seats?
There was nothing on the
Yeah,
seats.
okay.
But
Nothing at all.
little token for a Mr.
Bevy.
Organ branded beer.
Okay, well, that's not nothing. But
Behemoth.
it's
Yum
not an
beer,
Akoya candle, though,
if
is
I'm
it,
honest.
Alex? Deep cut. Okay, are we ready now? Are we ready now to get in?
We can't talk about Dua Lipa, but man, it was good. Man, it was good.
Great
Also,
show.
such a great show. One of the all-time great pop shows I reckon this country's ever seen. And Alex saw all the celebrities.
I just had an amazing Sunday. My Sunday started with us nearly running over Joe Nafahu in Mount Eden when he was crossing the road.
You'll get him next time, eh?
Yeah, so we'll see where he lands in the rankings. I saw Eli Matthewson. coming out of the Frida Kahlo exhibition. I saw Beck Runge and Cody Nielsen at the mall. I saw former Real Pod producer Jonathan Pierce at a gig.
Okay, that doesn't count.
It
doesn't count when you go to a gig and
No,
the
it
person
does.
you see
It
is
really
the person.
doesn't. We didn't see Dua Lipa
And I spent time
at a
with Dua
food
Lipa,
court.
yeah, personal friend. But he wasn't performing.
Okay,
Oh, that's okay.
That's
That's
all right.
okay.
Yeah.
You know, it counts.
You never answered my question about the lead singer from the Tarts, if that was him in the foreground of the photo.
I didn't know the answer.
It was just a lot of curly hair.
That's an even deeper cut than the Aqua Candle. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Is that all, or have you got more?
I
Casey
think
Frank?
that was all. Oh, yeah, and I saw Casey Frank in the same day. It was
I
crazy.
saw Lansavali at
That's
Dua Lipa,
amazing.
which felt significant because the dancing was a big part of the show, and I felt like he was there in his professional capacity as someone who needs to stay on top of his game.
Probably
he looked,
expense that.
yeah, he would have. He looked, or maybe he got a free ticket. He looked so good.
Yeah.
It's like so good. It was stupid. He was wearing this big like Comme des Garçons jacket thing that I would have looked at and gone, no way. But he just inhabited it.
Never say never.
Stylish. Well, that's true. I'm developing.
I have had one celebrity encounter in feels like a very long time, but it was just this very morning. Clinton Randall, host of The Masked Singer and other such television shows.
Sent one of the worst pap shots of your career.
I know,
us.
sorry. And the reason being, and this is why it was such a great interaction, is that he said hello to me.
What?
It was at school. Our kids go to the same school. And he was like, hey, to me. So,
Does he know who you are?
oh, well, only because I introduced myself as we were crossing the road one time when I did the whole "Hello, I'm Jane" podcast, like that sort
Yeah.
of thing. But now we're obviously
bros.
firm
And
friends.
were you sort of just filming him? As
No,
he was saying
because
hi to you?
that was the thing. I couldn't. Otherwise, I could have got a great shot. He was right next to me, but I had to wait until he left, and then I took a shot. It was bad. You couldn't even see his
behind a
hair.
tree.
It's just a
Yeah.
photo of a car.
Sorry, sorry about that. But you'll just have to take my word for it. Okay. Should we play the reality check sting? I guess that's appropriate.
Yeah.
We are
Okay,
checking
yeah.
reality.
Definitely not a shambles anymore.
I have 4 weeks to decide if I'm going to drop my entire life for you.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
You just fuck. Don't even
I'm really excited for this.
Same.
I'm really
I love
excited.
ranking people.
I know, I know that everyone else is completely over CTI, moved on, but we are still on the islands, in fact. Two different ones, Fiji and also the North.
It is crazy looking back, it's particularly that first season. 2019, Fiji. Feels like 10 years ago. It's just craziness.
I wasn't even in the country.
Where were you, Jane?
I was in America. That's
You
another
lived
big
in-
island.
LA?
Tinseltown.
Tinseltown, yeah. That's the one.
Is that what you call it?
No.
The real celebrity
No, I call
island.
it home. Okay, let's start with the bottom of the heap, the worst of the worst. There was no one other than Mr. Mike King. Oh, he came. He didn't come 18th. He didn't really come anywhere because he just left the competition, just self-eliminated.
Yeah.
But that's not why he's at the bottom.
He's at the
Can
bottom.
we be clear?
He's at the bottom because he's behaved badly.
He used extremely sexist language on multiple occasions. He called Karen O'Leary a bitch. He called Melody Robinson a cow. And he was very rude about Courtney Louise's lovely voice.
Strange behaviour for the leader of the Women's Alliance, I'll tell you that for free.
He also, did an absolute number on his own daughter, who was so looking forward to spending time with him on the island, and basically begged him not to go. And he was like, nah, out of here. Got my appearance fee, I'm off. And he also, bearing in mind that he does a lot of advocacy for mental health, he said out loud that he was going in there to basically fuck with everyone psychologically, which seems a weird stance to take when that's kind of the opposite of your whole thing.
Yeah, and even the way he went out, man, this is so tense to talk about, but well, here we are on this completely unqualified podcast. But it felt dissonant to behave that way and then on the way out be like, I've just got to go and help my people. No part of it made any sense. I feel like Mike King going into it, he's got almost like two reputations. He's got, on the one hand, he's this kind of champion of mental health, who's fiercely independent, who gives like kids who are struggling his phone number. And honestly, I've got no reason to suspect that that's anything but an unalloyed good for them. And then he's got this other part of him where he does seem to act he can come off as a bully in a lot of situations. Certainly he appeared that way on the show. And, you know, those things weren't resolved on it. In fact, I think he burnished his reputation as at best, a very complicated character. And you're just like, by the end, even though he was really entertaining television, you were like, good riddance. It's not even okay to have you around people in that kind of environment.
He did reflect after the show in interviews that it kind of awoke a monster within him. But again, we're only assessing on your performance within the show.
Also, it awoke a monster within him extremely easily because it was before he even went into the competition that he planned on screwing with everyone.
I'm the
True.
real celebrity, all that kind of
Which
loud
did
talk.
make for good, like, in the promo and stuff, it was kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
And to his credit, all the people on Facebook were like, Mike King's the only person I know in this show. So he was kind of right in that respect, but just
True.
a bad vibe.
Bad vibe. Okay, number 57, Lana Van Hout. Don't know who she was then, still don't know who she is now. Something sport?
She's a middle distance runner
There
and
you
a
go.
fitness influencer.
Okay.
My question to you is, who would have more recognition in Celebrity Treasure Island, Lana Van Hout or Christchurch artist Ronnie Van Hout?
Wow, that's actually a new frontier. Because one of the things I love about Celebrity Treasure Island is is basically that it answers that Facebook question you just noted. There are no celebrities here with her. Actually, celebrities have been blown up post-internet. Let's just accept that they're all here. But they have these narrow buckets. You know, you've got your influencer, social media celebrities. Start putting in Ronnie Van Hout types.
Let's get more artists in there. Let's get one of the Frizzelles.
Tremendously strange people. Put
One
them on
thing I
TV.
can tell you about Lana Van Hout, she was 5th to be eliminated in her season. Thank you very much.
I wrote a poem for Lana Van Hout at the time of her elimination. It's actually a song. It's to the tune of, what's the Diana?
Candle in the Wind, 97.
Goodbye, Lana Van Hout. Though I never knew you at all, you had the grace to wear a blouse, and you never caught a trout.
Oh, that's nice. You wouldn't catch a trout in the sea, would you? Because they're
No.
freshwater
No.
fish, so it's never a
She
true
might have
word.
tried, we won't
never
remember.
A true word
Could still
was
be
said.
trying.
Wow, she wore a blouse.
She did wear a blouse.
We should have moved her up the rankings.
Kind of, yeah.
That's quite.
It's bold in
It's
a
very bold.
hot environment.
It's going to
chiffon.
take 15 years to do this.
Okay, at number 56, this saddens me, Polina Lau. It saddens me because she actually did really well in the competition. Like, she was 12th to be eliminated, so she got good halfway through. But what did she do?
She did one thing.
She did one
which
thing.
I remembered. When she tried to mouth the word note.
Oh, she did.
On multiple occasions to Dame Susan DeVoy unsuccessfully. And it just looked like she was going, no, no, no.
Which Susan needed that at times.
Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get her out of the very bottom end of the rankings. Sorry, Polina. Lovely lady.
Lovely lady.
Lovely lady.
Wonderful person.
Wonderful
In real
person.
life.
If we were ranking these as people,
Oh my
she'd be top
God.
10 for sure.
I mean, Mike would still be 58 though, right?
Easy.
Okay. At number 55, again, perhaps controversial because she made it quite far through the competition. Anna Simsick. So Anna Simsick, look, the number one problem I have with her, she just didn't swim as well as I would expect her to. And
That's a huge problem.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge
I mean,
problem.
Schmitty, we got him on the tramps
Yeah.
pretty quick smart, and he delivered.
Yeah.
Though he is a current working trampolinist.
This is true.
It doesn't matter. If you are, what is she? Is she Olympian or Commonwealth?
I think she was a Commonwealth medalist.
Okay, look, you have to be quite good and fast. That's got to be a thing. And it's not that she was terrible. It's just that, I think Chris Parker outswum her, and he, I think, was in the pool for about a month training before the island. And if that's the thing that you're known for, if I, for example, went on Celebrity Treasure Island and didn't chat a lot, then you'd be disappointed. Or would you? I don't know. Maybe you'd appreciate the break. You know what I mean, though. But also, aside from that, barely any impact on my memory at all, aside from a really good switch in conversation when I think it was Richie Barnett walked in on some of the women talking about the ovary agreement. and she somehow managed to just switch it around to like endometriosis or something. She just sort of
That's right. That
would
was
talk about
close.
periods or something that would make Richie run screaming for the hills, and it did. It's very successful.
It's crazy that she was in the same universe as like Chris and Lance and stuff. I just do not see them in the same
and she
show.
went quite far in that universe as well.
Extraordinary.
Yeah. At number 54, Juliana Manuel. She was in the Legends. I don't remember anything.
She fought hard to drop 5 balls in a hole. That's all I know about her.
She was beaten by Chris Parker in elimination, and the only reason I think that's of real significance is that she was fourth to be eliminated. Imagine if she beat Chris.
The sliding doors moment.
It changed everything. But she didn't, and so we move on. At number 53, Tammy Davis. Sixth to be eliminated from his season, which was season 2. And
He had a lot of screen time.
he did.
Did not come off well.
Didn't. I know. Like, here's this guy who you expect to be like a joker
Yeah.
and a fun-loving guy.
He's a comedian as well as an actor, right?
And he was
But-
just a bit aggro.
Yeah, and it just felt like he was quite contemptuous of some of his fellow celebrities.
Specifically,
Women.
and even more specifically,
And
Angela Bloomfield.
yeah.
Who,
What about when he wore tiny pigtails, though?
That's true.
Well, that's why he's number 53 and not number 54. The pigtails saved him that one spot.
I think his in the moments were the really crushing thing for me. Like, he was basically fine-ish in the run of show, but he would just be like kind of a knob in the
It's
in the
quite
moments.
scathing, wasn't he? And I think because if you recall, Angela was really interested in getting her team, Honu, who are the legends, you know, and Buck, who's like just a very stoic dude, to kind of share a little bit about themselves. She wasn't asking them to like do a gratitude circle and cry together. She just was like, oh, hey, how many kids you got? You know, she just wanted them to get to know each other, and he found that repugnant for some reason. He just thought it was wishy-washy and silly, and I'm Team Ange on this one. Also, waved his willy about a bit.
What?
So I actually went back and listened to an old episode of us recapping, and you mentioned Duncan. He definitely admitted going commando, and people talked about the fact that they could see things.
That's not allowed.
I don't think it's allowed. I don't think we saw anything on screen except for him kind of like gyrating a little bit. But it became apparent that he had no underwear on underneath, and he was wearing very flimsy nylon shorty shorts. So it was a very real danger.
Well, with hindsight, I think that's fine.
They're basically at work.
Yeah.
I think in hindsight, that's definitely
So
not fine.
that's not fine.
I don't think it's fine.
Definitely not fine. Wrong take, Duncan.
All right, I take that back.
Remember when you thought Cody on Maths was great?
I've had some bad takes, hey. Do a supercut of them and I'm out ski.
Okay, number 55. The winner of season 1 of this show, Sam Wallace.
Wallace. Oh my gosh.
I love this ranking from us.
It's a controversial spot, but well earned by Mr. Wallace, Weatherman Wallace. I mean, one thing that I hadn't recalled, which I think puts anyone at the bottom of the list, is he'd never seen The Lion King. You know? That's just as a starting point. Mental. The man worked in children's television.
Yeah, that is bizarre, isn't it? I don't trust anyone who hasn't seen The Lion King and works in children's television.
And he also
know your audience.
pissed everyone off.
He pissed
in the entire game from almost week 1.
He pissed everyone off. I do remember that final being particularly unsatisfying, A, because it was 3 men in the final, and B, I didn't really have any affection for any of them apart from the Wiz, who never had a shit show, and C, Sam Wallace had gone through the whole season being difficult and then taking out the win. He also considered at one point Lily McManus was medevaced out off the island, or at least to a cabin nearby or something, because some sort of medical emergency. And while she was gone, instead of worrying about her, he considered chopping up her bed I presume to use as firewood.
Villain.
Villain.
And he said that openly. Like
Yeah.
he said, "I'm the most hated player in the game." Quite
Yeah.
early on.
Yeah.
He, but he said some stink stuff about like Rosanna Arkle's face and body and what she does. And he asked Zach Guilford if he'd ever been to prison. He was just like came in very hot, very early.
Yeah, like the show needs villains, and they invariably make it more compelling. But there's like a line with villainy where you're just actually being a dick, and Sammy might have crossed it, might have lived across it.
I liked how he was like the angel weatherman. The devil weatherman to Maddie's angel weatherman at the time. Yeah.
Was he weatherman at the time?
I think Maddie was a weatherman for a bit.
Was Sam Wallace weatherman at the time?
Yeah.
But I also think
Everyone's a weatherman.
Once you've been at you've
You're
stayed
at.
it for like, it's like it can't be rescinded.
One more great Sam Wallace quote before we move on. I think I am a fool. I like fools. Fools are my type of people, but I do not suffer idiots.
That is actually a T-shirt, a gravestone.
Okay, at number 51, I was about to leap ahead. I was about to miss Casey Frank altogether. He was the first to be eliminated in season 2.
Big boy.
Tall man, very tall man. 7 foot.
Shredded, 7 foot. My favourite Casey Frank fact was he was commentating the Breakers and had been retired for like I think a couple of years, and then the Breakers had a rash of injuries at centre, and he went from commentating to playing for the Breakers.
Wow.
Incredibly cool and funny thing to happen. He was good, but I think I was thinking about it. I feel like he might have had the least screen time of any competitor because he wasn't good at in the moments and he went out first. So. Probably about as much time as we need to devote to Casey Frank.
But where he lives now is forever in our imagination as who should have been inside the monolith, naked and afraid.
That's true.
Thanks to Sione Butler.
For his big sort of redemption arc, but
Never happened.
no such luck.
Maybe next season.
Okay, at number 50, we've got Eds Iramiha, second to be eliminated in the most recent season. Very handsome man.
Yeah.
Didn't stick around very long.
No.
Nothing more to add?
They ain't losses, Jane. They're lessons.
Oh, that's true.
It's a beautiful
actually.
quote from our Eds.
We could do just a book of just quotes from CTI.
How many copies would we need to make? I mean, like, obviously it's a popular show, but
3 copies.
yeah.
Just the 3. Samuel, do you want
One
one?
for the toilet.
Sam doesn't want one.
I'm all good.
The face he pulled just then.
Oh, it was great. He's the right man for this weird job.
Okay, at number 49, and it pleases me to say this because he's a man who's not used to not winning literally everything he does in life. Art Green, 7th to be eliminated in season 2. Just didn't reach his potential at all. And Richie Barnett's fault. Do you remember?
Oh, no.
Richie Barnett put him up for elimination when he was supposed to be putting up someone else, and at the very last moment he changed his mind. His whole team got pissed off with him because he
right.
put up their strongest member, only for that person to then be taken out by, I can't remember who.
It was
Brindley.
Stan.
It was by Brindley.
Stan, taking out Art Green.
And so there was all this controversy over, did Richie put Art up against Brindley because he knew that he would fail and therefore he was getting rid? And now, you look back on it now, and I'm so used to all the strategizing, I'm like, probably actually maybe a good move for Richie's personal
Richie
game.
was an extreme strategist, but I also think he would have thought big strong man defeat slight lady.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so
There was some sexist sort of tones to some of his gameplay. I think he was the only man left in his team after he got rid of Art, actually.
hey, we're talking about Art here.
Don't drag Art through this.
Sorry, Art's lovely.
Well, no, he's lovely. He's super lovely, but on the show he seemed a bit lost, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
you reckon?
he just didn't get a chance to
He
find
just had
his
his shirt
place.
off all the time, was walking along the beach.
That's
and
fine.
What
isn't
more
it?
do you want?
That was basically the job.
Okay, number 48, Eric Murray. 9th to be eliminated. Bit of a villain. I can't really remember why. I think he was just quite a competitive, savage player.
See, I don't remember. I have this image of him as like a big, lovable BFG type fellow
I think
in a coconut bra.
I know, okay, I think you're conflating his lovely Dancing with the Stars persona.
Possibly.
But definitely 100% I saw a Now to Love article
Love
that
that.
said that Sam, Eric and Barbara Kendall were the 3 villains of the season.
Wow.
So, and I don't argue with that. I can't
It's Now to
100%
Love,
tell you why,
you know?
but it's Now to Love.
Come on.
It's leading news source.
Okay, 47, Zach Guilford, first to be eliminated from his season after Carl sent himself home. So Carl Burnett self-eliminated. So Zach was the first to kind of go up in an elimination challenge and be booted off the island.
It's too bad, eh? I mean, it's another sliding doors moment. Had he gone further, would we have got this amazing, like, Zach Guilford redemption arc, public image kind of rehabilitation situation?
But I think that the story about him stealing his grandfather's money to gamble with came subsequent to
Yeah.
his Celebrity Treasure Island. It might even have been before the courts. So I think
Before 2019.
pretty sure, or if it wasn't before the
dear.
courts, it might have been like in train, allegedly, honest opinion. But either way, I think because of the specific dynamics of that, no matter how good a lovable rogue you are on Celebrity Treasure Island, you just can't steal money
old
from old
courts.
granddad.
Yeah, true.
Put it
Yeah.
and spend it on the dogs, like people don't love that.
I mean, Zach was sentenced in March of this year, so definitely that came beforehand. CTI, I mean. Okay. Johnny Tuivasa Sheck is at number 46, third to be eliminated. I don't remember a lot about what he did.
He was like part of that group of
Comedians, the jokers.
Yeah, and I fitted him well, but he just wasn't a lead.
And therefore he's at number 46 in our rankings.
The only quote I've got from him, it's time to nut up or shut up.
Good.
Could be
Another
good
one.
for the book.
Good for the book.
Samuel?
I like nut.
So he's getting more interested as we go along the
Okay.
list. I think we're going to have sold you the book by the end of this. Okay. Moses Mackay is at number 45. Not yet Bachelor.
No.
In fact, this was him sort of coming into the public sphere, really, out of the rest homes where he sings with Solomeo and into the kind of the greater public understanding.
Unfortunately, the only
Yes.
enduring image is him cutting his own long toenails with a machete.
What's
It's the most
worse?
horrifying thing.
What's worse, cutting your own long tails with a machete or cutting someone else's long tails? Tails.
Toenails,
Long
not tails. Jane, yay. Why don't you tell him that?
There's no answer to that question anyway.
Just don't use a machete. Maybe
think-
they had no access to anything else, but cut your nails before you go.
Yeah, but you're there a while, and they might be fast.
He might be
growing.
fast growing.
Yeah.
I think he had the
He
ladies.
vibes that way.
He had the ladies swooning a little, and Sam Wallace didn't like that because he got jealous.
Yeah, Moses is like objectively like an incredibly lovely, cool guy in real life. I've travelled with Moses for a story and can confirm. For some reason, it doesn't translate to TV. Like he's a little bit. He holds something back.
Disagree. I remember thinking he was great on CTI and charming and lovely and funny, but then The Bachelor happened, and that was
I
wooden.
mean, that falling in love on camera is probably more difficult. Plus, they were shooting at double speed. Check it out on the spinoff.co.
Didn't have a machete.
Okay, at number 44. Oh, this is so sad. Guy Montgomery, first off in the latest season, defeated by failed machinery. The corn didn't come through for him in this instance.
No, it came through too
Too quickly, yeah.
too much corn. Has there ever been such a thing?
Apparently, I think does Guy listen to this podcast ever? He never will with our
think he
association with
dabbles.
corn.
Yeah, it's going to be traumatizing for him now. I mean, this is a rough ranking spot, given how heavily he featured in the promo and how
Yeah.
big of a part of the show we thought he was going to be. I mean, he gave us Pilots Over Pirates, baby.
He did, and he had to wear those little Speedos in all the promo shots.
And that
bus
like
stops,
shearling jacket, yeah.
I mean,
billboards.
on a like quality moments per minute of screen time
Oh,
basis,
right up there.
You know, if you were re-ranking it based on that, he'd probably be top 5. But he got, and life's not fair. But that's what's happening with these rankings. We all love Guy, but this is unfortunately the
This
cruel.
is the science of the ranking.
It is the science.
At number 43, JJ Fong, 8th to be eliminated, known for two things mostly. One, having a spew after the Is It Wasabi, Is It Avocado charity challenge.
Which, I mean, I can relate.
Actually, yes, you can.
yeah.
And, actually, she was also one, it was revealed, who asked if there were going to be washing machines on the island anyway to do their laundry. But most importantly, as she left the show, one of my all-time favourite lines of Celebrity Treasure Island, from especially juxtaposed with the fact that she really didn't make a huge impact in the show in terms of camera time or commentary. Cook your own rice, bitches.
Incredible
So
way to go.
good. And she
Yeah.
threw her hands up in the air and was like, wow, you should have brought that energy the
Yeah,
whole
there
time you
you
were
are.
here.
It's like Simon Bridges, you know? When he was National Party leader, just an uncharismatic lump of shit. And then, subsequently, records a podcast in the studio. He seems funny and cool. JJ, leave it all on the floor. You don't just, you know.
Yeah. You never know when you're going to be eliminated. I think the other thing to bear in mind, maybe in her defence, is that they obviously edit after they've recorded. That's how these things work. Maybe there were some shining moments that she had where she brought that personality through, but it didn't sort of just fit with the storyline.
That's the great unknown of her and Polina and just a whole bunch of people who they obviously decided you're not going to be a main character.
Yeah.
You have to either spew or swear. That's how you get in there,
okay.
I reckon.
Or just good little
Or at the
grab,
same
like
time.
pilots over pirates, baby. You know, just get that nice little clippy grab.
And just to be cracking in the moment.
Actually, there's lots of ways that you
Yeah.
can get
No,
on.
I think it's just spew or swear.
Cassie Romer is at number 42, friend of the pod. She was the 6th to leave in the latest season. She self-eliminated after being very affected by Alex King's response to Mike King leaving. There was just a ripple effect of Mike King in this whole bloody thing.
Cassie played the game almost comically and competently in revealing the Women's Alliance to Mike King, who admittedly maybe has Mr. Organ level mind control power, but immediately it was like, hi, I'm Mike King. We have a Women's Alliance. Would you like to be our leader? Oh, no.
Aside from that, I mean, she had nice commentary. She had some great fashion, but she just wasn't it wasn't for her. She had to go home and be with her daughter, which is
She
nice.
didn't have the time to step into her potency.
But she was in a great emotional sort of bellwether of the show and really useful to it in that respect. But yeah, so I liked having her there, and I think she had disproportionate amount of screen time given on a.
We love an accent, though, don't we? We love an American
we love
accent.
Just love a Cassie. We love a Cassie.
It's fancy.
Yeah, it is so fancy.
Okay, Joe Nofahu, number 41.
Still lives.
Still lives.
Went.
Saw him twice, actually. I saw him last week, actually outside the Pelican Club.
Whoa.
Allegedly.
Not going in or out.
Allegedly.
No, just walking past. It's just an address on a road, and it's near a set of lights that you have to cross.
Yeah.
So it's just
That's fine.
It's just a landmark. It's
Right?
it's a landmark is all it is. Okay, number 41. And he was second to go home on the first season. He self-eliminated to be first season, second season. Oh, second season, sorry. He self-eliminated to be with his sick mum. Very very admirable, very sad. Saved Kimberly Crossman in the process. She was eliminated, and he jumped up and said, "No, I'll take the hit. I got to go be with mum." And she stuck around. At number 40, Lady Six, who I didn't even remember was on the show until we were doing these rankings. And since then, Alex, you've done some digging.
I did do some digging, and I remembered a lot about. I think she was quite an early adopter of the anti-Sam Wallace vibe. Quite early on, she was giving him a lot of evils across the camp. And when him and Eric Murray kind of did this weird, probably in multiple ways problematic coconut bra sort of performance, she gave a quote that was, they're doing this coconut bra thing and we're over here organising a coup with her, Lily McManus and somebody else. And I was like, man, Lady Six is actually very cool. Probably almost too cool for a show like this.
Too cool. She had a lot of political T-shirts as well.
Just great T-shirts in general.
Yeah.
But the coup didn't work and the coconut bras did, weirdly, in the end.
Ain't that always the way?
Is it?
TK Tuhaka it's at number 39. Ninth to be eliminated. Points for knocking out an Olympian. Okay?
Amazing.
I know we're not taking into account people's, but come on. Dylan Schmitty, trampolinist extraordinaire.
And he did it. It was a strength-based challenge, and I don't know if you've seen Dylan Schmidt's bod.
Was it? I thought it was the ping pong balls and.
No, it was hanging.
It was hanging.
Oh, that was the
hanging
one with the
tough.
fingertips.
On some cones. It looked so painful. And he did it, and he travelled to another dimension, as he did multiple times.
Yeah, the thing is, you could have done an edit where he would have seemed totally fine, but he said some things which are objectively super funny TV, but also just made him seem like a total clown. I don't feel pain, or it's just he's quite preposterous.
Where he fails for me is that he talked over ear and just chose for the team which intruders were going to be in the team or not. So
This was when she was captain.
This is when she's captain. So Dame Susie arrives and they haven't decided what they're going to do, and he just speaks over the top as we don't have enough food for you, so we respectfully decline having you in our team. And then the next day Mike King arrives and he's like, probably less food, but come on in, and it pissed everyone off.
It's an underrated aspect of the show, but it really does reveal people have got to touch the old sexism kind of hard-coded in. Like, it's really nowhere to hide.
Yeah, I guess when once you get into like this kind of hierarchies, where there's like someone who's got to be someone who really has to push themselves forward, it's interesting how the gender dynamics always play out the same way
Every time.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Kia ora, I'm Alex Casey, Senior Writer at The Spin-Off. We wouldn't exist without the ongoing support of our generous members. If you're able to, you can make a donation at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
At number 38, Ia Liu, who was the 4th to be eliminated. I'm so sure that she threw this elimination challenge so that she could go home to be with her baby, because it shouldn't take anyone, let alone 2 people, like an hour and a half to do what seems like not that hard a puzzle.
Yeah. And Karen O'Leary was doing
a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like, it was the longest comedy set she's ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do that much improv while playing a game, impressive.
And still winning it. So that's where I'm like,
Yeah,
maybe.
she basically almost had it finished and then just sort of stopped.
She just stopped, yeah. I think if you watch it back again, maybe there are a few telltale signs. But commitment to keeping the cosmetics on the face.
Oh,
just
flawless every day. She did have eyelash extensions done right before she went into the show, and she did tell me that she wanted to go home before they got too wispy.
Oh, there we go.
You lose a couple every day. And God,
okay.
if you got to the final, you just have one.
So that gets you. So around about day 4 or 5, I guess, is when your eyelashes start to go. That's what we've learned. At number 37, Lily McManus, former Bachelorette. Had she been Bachelorette at this point?
No. Next year she would be Bachelorette.
She'd been a Bachelorette in
Zach's season.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Zach.
What a run. Lily sums up so much about reality television, doesn't she? Everything is connected to her in a way.
If we were doing a top 20 pan format, which we're
definitely going to be doing
at some point, she is a very highly ranked contender.
Yeah. And yet, what do we remember of her on Celebrity Treasure Island?
This was not her format for some reason, even though it screams like the sort of improvisational being like a loose unit, like that should be. I wonder if they changed the way they make the show, because do you remember that season was much more challenge, like the downtime has grown larger and the challenge is more compressed, and I wonder if like those people who are just sort of charismatic and a bit weird just work better on the show as it's evolved.
I think also when it's the first season reboot, a lot of these people wouldn't have even remembered the original seasons. And so it's kind of like starting again, not really knowing, probably not putting themselves out there quite as much. And as each season has gone on, I feel like everyone's strategized way more. They've had way more fun in the B-roll, and way more fun in their commentary. Like, everything about it, people are starting to play the part, which is much more entertaining television. But also, Lily went out 6th, and I just think so many people tend to come into themselves as they start to unravel, during the season, unless you're naturally a comedian like Guy Montgomery and you're on fire from the first day that you're in. For a lot of people, like Siobhan, look at Siobhan in this season, she was pretty not there for a long time, and then suddenly she was everything.
Lily's also quite an interesting celebrity in that she was famous for having been on reality shows. Is she a hardcore social media person?
No, she dabbles.
And so when you think about everyone else, they've got reps. Like, comedians been on stage a ton, done a bunch of TV, even like the TikTokers and so on. Like, her experience in that environment, she's obviously just like a loose and charismatic person.
She's a normie, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she's basically as close to a normie as you're likely to get on the show.
What I will say, I've just remembered that I think she did a good job of repping her charity and talking a lot about how she was using hearing aids on the island. And there was like talk of how like she kept forgetting to take them out when she ran into the water and stuff like that. And I think that was something that was actually very important to her in this season, which was quite well covered at the time, which I guess broadly is the point of the show, you know, the charities and representation,
well,
etc.
not for Jane.
Not for Jane. Jane hates
No, certain charities. I'm just saying.
It's the worthy charities.
I really think you've taken this and run it into a place that was never intended.
My favourite thing about the show is how much Jane hates the charities.
I don't hate the I love the charities.
Just the government should be giving them money.
Just some more than others. Okay. Lily McManus was medevaced due to a fever. I don't have any recollection of this whatsoever, but Chizzo was at her bedside apparently.
Yeah, I remember it was like quite weird. Like we got footage of her in her hotel room resting up. Like the cameras went off the island, so to speak, and we kind of got behind the curtain like that. And that's when Sam Wallace was like, well, let's burn all the things.
Yeah.
She's dead.
At number 36, Tegan Ulworth, who was fifth to be eliminated. Well, she wasn't really eliminated. She withdrew due to an ankle injury.
She broke 2 toes.
Toe injuries. Facts.
That's actually like really close to the ankle.
They're very, very nearby to each other.
Is that the biggest, apart from Cocroft? Like, breaking 2 toes.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Although I feel like I break a toe a lot of the time. When you kick a vacuum cleaner, you know, when you do that by accident, forget it.
I've broken my toe multiple times growing up, and it's both quite easy to do and not as sore as it sort of vibes like
but
it should be.
But it would definitely affect your ability
to... Get the fuck off the island.
Yeah.
Because that's all the time for me.
I have a very vivid memory of the challenge in which she broke her toes, and that was when it was a kind of an in the water and out of a water thing. They had to carry these big, heavy sack things over each other, and they were kind of like, and they had to try and catch each other. So one team had to try and catch the other team, and then they slowly like dropped off members until there were just like 3 people or something. It was just
A real toe breaker.
It was a real toe breaker, I tell you what. At number 35, Barbara Kendall, who Manny McLean does not have to prove himself to. She was 11th to be eliminated. She was a savage player. I remember her in the Captain's Challenges just being like a force to be reckoned with.
She had very distinct facials. I remember her doing what in that season was the pineapple in a box challenge, not the kumara in a box. And her just doing these like crazy Pennywise smiles and like just really being quite disturbing in the way she was conducting herself as captain.
There's something in her that is the same thing that's in Dame Susie D. I feel like being an elite woman athlete in the sort of 80s/90s, like it gave you a very specific experience of New Zealand and the world, and you're just like a hard motherfucker.
And she's only interested in other hard motherfuckers. So this is where this now kind of famous or infamous situation with Manny McLean came about, is that she had like a mercy card, and she said she was only going to use it on physically strong men in her team, and that was 2 people who were not Maddie McLean, and so that obviously really upset Maddie, and that's when he had his weeping, I don't have to prove myself to Barbara Kendall moment, which made the news. Like there's multiple articles. It's become like an iconic phrase in the CTI universe.
When you say made the news, now to love.
Now
right?
to love, yeah. Now to love. No, it definitely
made the nows.
I definitely think it would have been referred to in the spin-off Power Rankings as well. So multiple outlets.
Multiple sources
leading news outlets.
that it made the news.
At number 34, Kimberly Crossman, 9th to be eliminated. Actually, let's not forget, she was originally eliminated and then saved by Joe Nafahu. I just remember that she wore Ugg boots on the beach, and I thought that was quite a statement.
That's another parody song. Uggs on the beach, weird but fucking beautiful. So hot to wear like sheepskin Uggs.
Oh yeah, because we're Fiji.
Yeah.
Fiji.
Where the weather is nice, not Northland where it's Eternal Winter.
Really? Did so much brand damage to Winterless North.
Kimberly wasn't in Fiji. No, she was in the Winterless Winterful North. She was season 2.
Then amazing that everyone wasn't wearing
True.
Ugg boots and snowshoes.
And that's why she's appetized she is in the mid-30s, because she had the foresight to bring some Ugg boots to a cold summer. 33, Melody Robinson.
Too low.
Okay. I don't know where I put her. Honestly, I made a list and you guys fucked with it, so I'm just rolling with it.
Yeah, I just think we haven't done enough disagreeing with the placements on the list. But I think, Melody was part of that incredible holy trinity of Lynette Forday and Dame Susie D, which just had so much kind of chaos and open disagreement, and it was just incredible TV. And even though they largely, I think in terms of the order that they've come in, it's fair. They were such electric TV that I think that there should be some kind of gravity applied. I also just really like her as a
Did she do anything funny or entertaining though?
But she caused a lot of chaos. She definitely did entertaining things.
Did she though?
Yeah.
I mean, she was the lead Spice Girl to Ron Cribb's Backstreet Boys as well.
Oh my God, that's so good.
But did she come up with that?
I think that was Cribby.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I have no doubt that, you can argue, that there's a lot of really excellent players, but they're not that necessarily that high on the list because they didn't do,
she didn't spew or swear.
She didn't spew or swear.
Or fall off a box or anything.
Falling off a box is, forgot to mention that.
Where that'll get you.
Yeah. Falling off a box is a number one ticket. It's a one-way ticket to the top 20.
What about falling over a thing?
That gets you just about in the top 20. That's all I'll say.
It's a bit of a throw forward.
Okay, Richie Barnett's at number 32. Just a very weird. This is one of the people who probably maybe coming on the show didn't do him any favours.
No.
Didn't come across great.
No. He was a villain, but I don't think he would have understood that or maybe even accept it now.
No.
But he was very intense to the point of happily sort of sabotaging his own team to their faces based on his weird code of Celebrity Treasure Island that only he possessed.
And he was big mindset kind of guy as well, TK vibes.
Yeah.
Got sent home by Buck in the battle of rugby versus league.
This is why he's as high up as he is, because that's a moment,
that was a battle for the ages.
Everyone was really keen to get these two up against each other. And I think Buck, to this point, in fact, in one of the real recaps we did, Alex, I think you referred to him as being at Weekend at Bernie's, just being hadn't done a lot, grumbled and moaned about the weather, had a mattress. He was afforded a mattress when no one else was.
He's a sir.
So to have Sir Buck then come in and take out the young Buck, Richie Barnett.
And to be fair, that, so Richie Barnett might be 15 years younger than Buck, or maybe 10, but Richie Barnett is in crazy shape, and Buck is just,
Buck.
He was on match fit, he was not in crazy shape, and just older, and time's been harder. He was a rugby player in the amateur era, Richie Barnett was a professional rugby league player. They were just he had a lot of advantages. It should have been almost cruel, and yet Buck just smoked him.
Yeah. So what a great elimination that was, and forever it shall live in our memories. At number 31, Rosanna Arkle, too high.
You think this is too high?
It's too high.
Why?
Because she went out fourth, and I don't remember anything about her.
But do you remember?
Make the case for the prosecution, Alex Casey.
Funny biscuit challenge where she was unable to move the biscuit from her forehead to her mouth because she had so much Botox, which started a trend that I think Edna then picked up in the next season. I think it's so cool that they cast someone who was on the GC, a forgotten relic of New Zealand pop culture history, and if it is remembered, derided.
Yeah, well, but also remembered for a funding scandal, which should never have been a scandal at all.
And so not only was she this, they were dusting off this old reality star, she was actually a megawatt Instagram star. She had 4.7 million followers. And I just thought, the casting of her was quite cool. Even if she did go home quite early, I liked the Botox biscuit challenge.
Look, I'll take that. I'm happy to take that, because honestly, there's a bunch of people in here I'd remember not a thing. So I'm happy to be reminded about the Botox biscuit challenge and to let her have her place there. Okay, well done, Alex.
Thank you.
At number 30, Champel Elise, who
It's probably too low.
I don't know.
Could be recency bias, but he was
Shim
so
Shady. There is an argument that if someone gets their own nickname
That's
within
true.
the world of the show, they're automatically like top 20. You know?
Well, he's top 30. He's
That's
number 30.
true.
That's getting pretty close to top 20.
This is really hard to do. We need to make that clear.
And when he did the pretend weightlifting thing to remember Ed Spy, that's iconic. That's like a top 15 comedy moment from the season.
He also talked to his beans, which I was really fond of.
Hello, Beans.
Morning, Beans.
And his beautiful, unlikely friendship at dawn with Dame Susan,
Yeah.
having Tim Tams every morning.
Glorious.
What was that? That was so beautiful.
It was so nice. I can tell you that there's a really long distance between those camps. Dame Susan was walking a real long way uphill, down Dale, at 5 a.m. to meet up with Shim. How lovely.
That's
beautiful.
How delightful.
We need someone to make a slow motion, sort of airbrushy supercut of those. I'd watch that.
And number 29. This may seem crazy because he didn't even last a single... I think he had spent the first night on the island. But Carl Burnett, season 1, first out, self-eliminated for mental health reasons. But, man, had a good little 24 hours before he went.
This is who you want to be on Treasure Island.
This is
you want to
so
be the
who you want.
person tied up in the challenge that your team forgets and leaves you there moping about in a Street Fighter t-shirt.
That is going to be triggering. Surely, abandonment. That's rough. And it was really hot. This is Fiji. He was in the sun. Oh my God, I'm losing my voice.
Hey, look, it's emotional.
Might I remind you that Carl Burnett sent me via Skype a script for a film once.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
On Skype?
I know. I don't even know how this happened. I thought I'd bring it up.
Carl Burnett's basically had quite a hard life.
He has.
You know, he was a megawatt star on Shortland Street at the time when that was just the biggest and basically only thing, and stayed on it for a long time, and had to leave because you do, and then life kind of got hard, came back as like a soundy. I feel like all of that went into the fact that the abandonment would have really, really cut him.
I think another reason he's up so high is really just the potential of what could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing to see him back on screen. That was an incredible bit of casting.
I'd love to see an All-Stars where it's not really about the people who did really well, though. It's just about the really good characters or the ones who didn't get to go as far as we know that they should have.
In general, can I make an aside here and say that the casting on this show has been just in general extraordinary. Not just the characters, but I think their vision of what it can be and how that speaks to an evolving New Zealand and it's just... There's a reason why this is fun to do, and it wouldn't be fun to do with a lot of other shows that nominally have the same conceit or sort of assembly process. And some people at Warner Brothers / TVNZ need to be really, really proud of what they've done. That's just my little...
That's nice, Duncan.
That's really nice.
It is
Look,
nice.
hey, sometimes you've got to say a nice thing about a network and a production company.
At number 28, Joey D, Joe Damon. Duncan, I feel like this is your one to speak to.
But I almost feel like I'm conflicted out of it just because I had him on the fold and we've become kind of friendly, and I just think he's like an awesome dude. I really enjoyed him on the show. I liked his relationship with Lance. I like he was one of those people who came in basically as a social media presence and has now become transcended it and knows that it is because of the show. Similar to Chris Parker, though he had a more evolved career. There was a career before and a career after, and a name recognition and a level of public knowledge. And I feel like you could sort of sense him, because he's an incredible business brain, figuring that out sort of on the show and becoming who he was destined to be. So this is a bit much, right?
It is, because I don't remember that much of what he did. And
I remember he poked a possum with a stick.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that kind of stuff.
It's amazing that you took out his amazing business brain while watching the show, when all I can remember is that he was part of the Awesome Foursome, and very likable and very fun, but just overshadowed by the strong personalities of Lance, Brinley and Chris, who hard to compete with personality-wise, you know?
Good luck.
I remember there's a funny moment where I think it was during that boat challenge that makes everyone crazy, and particularly made Chris Parker quite crazy, and Joe Damon splashed, I think it was on the other team, and he splashed them, like, just for fun. And Chris was like, not now, Joe! Like, real pissed off, which I think is really funny. It's cheeky.
At number 27, Shane Cameron, who got top 3 in season 1.
Oh, was that Shane Cameron?
Yeah.
I knew there was some giant dude in the finale. But
There were 2
Eric
giant
Murray.
dudes in the finale, and one of them was Shane Cameron. I just don't remember anything barely about him. To be fair, I don't remember a lot about that season at all.
Yeah, we watched it all, and it was
We
admittedly
recapped it.
pre-pandemic, and our minds have been blitzed since then, but it just wasn't the, like, searing into your brain season that the latter two.
And I was in Tinseltown with real celebrities,
You're
you know?
busy.
I was
So
busy.
good.
Housewives, Kardashians.
Like, literally sitting on the couch with them, just like, shush him.
Look how we do telly in my home country.
Isn't it sweet?
What I remember about Shane Cameron, which I think is a very important phrase to bring up, is that there was a spelling challenge where you had to shuffle all the blocks around, and he wrote head wheat. And then went, is that it?
I mean, it's 2
No.
words. It is 2
Just
words.
the phrase head wheat.
What was
and
the
it's always
word?
kind of stuck with me. Oh, it's a good question.
It's really hard to try and do this
Hard
live
to do
on
it in your
pod.
head. But I, for some reason, just that word is always stuck in my mind.
Do anything else that you remember from apart from the head weight?
That's all my head weight remembers.
Bad case of head weight. Angela Bloomfield comes in at number 26. At number 26, she was the 11th to be eliminated. She, as we've mentioned, wanted Honda to be in touch with their feelings. She had to put up with Munta. She wanted women in the final. She was a real feminist in that sense, and she wanted her team to, like, play the game, and she just wasn't getting anything out of them.
Yeah, there was a kind of a sort of cruelty to the way she was treated, which was, but she just sort of staunched it out.
I feel like she would have thrived in another team,
100%.
But this team was just very
Broed out.
They're very broed out. They
Was
were
she
like
the
brick walls.
first contestant to kind of explicitly talk about the gender problem on the show and be like, we need women in the final?
In my memory, she is, and maybe that's all that matters because that's made an impact.
It's your truth.
It's my truth.
And look at the last winner.
Okay, Matty McLean's at number 25, again, mostly because he just doesn't have to prove himself to Barbara Kendall, but also for that amazing shot in the mud where he just looks like a swamp monster.
Yeah.
He provided a lot of he was a crucial part of heaps of good moments on that season.
And he's a super fan. Like he's a massive
Yes.
Survivor
Yeah.
fan, which I think is always hurts you in these games because
Yeah.
you come in too hot and you never last because you're just trying to do too much and it's too exciting.
He's very vulnerable. Like, I feel like he was one of the more vulnerable performances that we've had, especially early on.
For a real famous person, he's also kind of normie. Like, he's just like a lovely person who just wants to be seen and
Liked.
yeah, and that's it's just not a show for that, unfortunately.
We're getting there. We're nearly at the end for today. At number 24, Alex King, daughter of Mike King, who's way at the other end of the list.
Well, that honestly should give you like a 20-place bump just like surviving that based on what we saw on screen.
That's true. Fifth to be eliminated. I didn't realise she went out so early on. When I think about how much she was on camera for
Lots
the
of-
time that she was
Yeah.
there, heaps and heaps of on-the-fly interviews.
Yep.
She was captain of her team, so
That's right.
that helps. She also cross-team allianced really early on, and with the women's alliance. And what else? Oh, she got upset when Dad left, obviously.
She
which
had
was a huge
great
bummer.
grabs. When Mike King arrived, she said, my timbers have been shivered, which is something that I've been trying to work into everyday conversation unsuccessfully
Keep
to this
at it.
point. I think she also got quite emotional quite early on, which I think also does help the edit.
It's true.
If you have a
Tears
big
is
cry,
another.
tears, swears, spews.
And box falls.
And she was like very funny as well. I think she talked about being hangry a lot. That became a big part of her
yeah.
character quite early on, which I think is quite relatable.
And to that point, she's the youngest ever contestant on the show.
Wow.
Yeah. So
My timbers have been shivered.
there you go. Oh, that was seamless.
Now that's a quote I would buy.
Can we add some?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah,
See?
we got there. We got there.
At number 23, Karen O'Leary. Or should we
This-
say Karen O'Terry?
Yeah. This feels low.
Yeah,
But wait till you see what we've got
the top
coming.
20.
I guess so, but like incredible narrator, like very like funny, but also like she had a little bit of that kind of I'll just say things quality that really helps drive the interpersonal drama. And
She was happy to call out problematic stuff a lot as well.
so happy.
And she's called out Mike King post-show again,
Yeah.
so that does not factor into the rankings. But she was really on a mission to be like, I'm not going to let people behave badly. She really believed that the show was a place to like show the best of us.
Oh, dear.
and the feminist side of it,
Yeah.
she was just so staunchly that, and was calling it out amongst every part,
Everyone.
like woman, men, anything
Yeah.
where she was like, this contradicts your stated, actions or feelings here, like. And was she was just very, very entertaining. It's too low.
3 main things about Karen that will stick with me always. One, the comedy show / puzzle elimination that took far too long. Number 2, sacrificing herself so that Courtney could stay on and represent women in the final, hopefully, and that went on to be true. She didn't win it, which is kind of good because I would have felt ripped because I don't feel like Courtney should 100% be there. Anyway, that's a whole nother political situation.
It's another podcast.
Number 3, Karen O'Terry. Now, Karen O'Leary having a wee cry in the promo caused Alex Casey to refer to her as Karen O'Terry, which then made its way all the way through to the launch party. And when she was announced on stage, when they introduced the cast, they referred to her as Karen O'Terry. And I just think that is, just a lovely full circle TV show with the podcast moment. And it will live in my heart forever.
Agree.
You're welcome. It's more of a me thing than a her thing.
It is more of a you thing. It is, but I'm tying it to her because without her, you couldn't have done that.
Exactly. It's a chicken egg. Yeah.
Exactly.
But literally, she will never cry again without her being Karen O'Terry in
Getting
any aspect of her
roasted
life.
for it.
It's
Yeah.
also not chicken and egg, really, because that couldn't have happened without her.
I've been saying Karen O'Terry since the day I was born.
Okay.
I've just been waiting for the
Okay.
right moment for her to come along.
At number 22, Lana Searle. I didn't know of Lana at all before this show, but I've since found out that Jason Gunn once spat chia seeds into her mouth, and that was revealed during one of those, like,
Oh,
is
yes.
this true
That's
about...
right.
Yeah.
Good challenge.
That was
I
amazing.
mean, she's one of those people, mega yarns, like commercial radio lady.
Yeah.
She had like this crazy story about killing her sister's budgie. There was all this just like JJ Feeney era, like just she's lived a life.
She was actually one of the judges for, like, Block Stars or something as well. Yeah. I
She
went...
spends a lot of time with Gary McCormick.
Yeah, and Jason Gunn. And she was apparently.
Ngāti Kuri, right?
Yes.
And that thread of the like Māoritanga of the show being quite like present in it. I feel like she was a big driver
was.
of that. And that was a big part of what made that lockdown season so like kind of weirdly, like completely unexpectedly emotionally engaging.
She also headed up the ovary agreement. So that's huge. I think she may have actually named it. And she was a team leader for Katapo for a while there. And she was the only member of Katapo to stay in Katapo when the 3 teams went down to 2 and all her other jokers disappeared into another team. And that was when the battle braids happened. And there was this huge controversy because she was going to be loyal to her Katapo team members who went to another team, and then she was seen wearing battle braids, which was like, I don't know, the style cry of of this new team, and caused problems.
Style cries. Good.
At number 21, so close to the top 20. It pains my heart that he didn't stumble into the top 20, but he did stumble through an elimination apparatus, and it is Dr. Joe.
Rappin'
I'll get his
Rindelob.
name right, Dr. Joel Rindelob.
Maybe he would have made the top 20 if there weren't so many raps. You know?
I don't know.
Or would he have been like 24?
He'd have been further down,
Do you
in my
reckon?
opinion. Yeah, because it's memorable moments.
And
you know.
the last
memorable.
rap was kind of good, right?
Do it.
No? Like literally never?
I think the reason he's not top 20 is just that he didn't do heaps of commentary. He didn't do a lot of like personality stuff, but the stuff where he did come through, he really shone. For example, falling through that thing was just amazing.
And they'd be like, I'm good. Trying to play it cool.
Yeah, it's just
Loved it.
Got sand in every orifice. Such
Being
a savage spill.
A huge threat to everyone, and everyone thinking that he's double-crossing them when in fact totally, absolutely just actually the nicest person on the planet.
Had no game. Like it was amazing to be as feared and as good while also just being like a conscientious objector to strategy.
And he of course, he threw an elimination challenge so that his dear friend Siobhan could stay in the competition, the ultimate nice guy move. And I just think that that's way more legit than, say, when Karen saved Courtney, because Courtney had been eliminated at that point.
True.
Like, she'd been eliminated, and Karen was just like, well, I'm going home so she can stay. Whereas this was Joel making like a strategic decision in the elimination. She actually won it fair and square. She did win it because he threw it.
No, I think it's all the same thing.
It's not all the same thing, Duncan.
I just love how he was a genuine weirdo.
There's
not that many like real weird people on these shows because there's often to be a celebrity you have to you have to fit in a certain way.
Have you met any celebrities? They're all weirdos.
But like, remember that conversation with Joel trying to make small talk with Cam, being like, would you ever live in outer space?
Yeah.
I mean, he got labelled within the show the weird uncle, and I think he embraces that completely. And I think in many ways that was his strength because no one could figure him out. They kind of thought it was a performance, and it genuinely wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
The other thing, contra our point about, cast more artists, cast more scientists.
Yeah.
That's super weird.
Get Michael Baker in there.
Baker in there.
You know they would have tried for Bloomfield, eh? They definitely.
What do you think the list was? Bloomfield, Susie,
Baker, Randall, Nick. What's the other? Nick Wilson. He's down there.
Really?
Let's get rid of this. Yeah.
Have we had politicians on the show?
I don't know if
I'm
we
just
have.
going to see that.
Yeah.
When you're talking about strategy and like double crossing people.
Oh, true.
That'd be like,
Get Aaron Gilmore on there.
Okay, hey, look, that is our first instalment of every CTI cast member in the reboot ranked. We are going to do the top 20 next week, and you will know there are some names that haven't appeared today, and that's because they're coming up next week.
By the way, if you're listening and you like this podcast and you're interested in this format, A, tell us what you think, and B, tell us some more things you'd like us to do. Because we basically got the off season coming up. There's no reality in production that I can think of until like probably Maths AU, and we're keen to just like try some things.
Well, I will say they are filming the new Jackie Brown-fronted blow-up competitive balloon art competition at the moment. It's
like
coming
I say,
to 3 next year.
give us some ideas.
Look out for that.
Because not that.
Hey, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you join us for the top 20 next week. Thank you very much, Samuel, for recording us and editing us. And that's all.
Kia ora, this is Toby Manhire, here to urge you to tune in to Gone by Lunchtime, a podcast with me, Annabelle Lee Mather and Ben Thomas, tackling the world of New Zealand politics, from policy to polling, from scandal to psychodrama. Listen to Gone by Lunchtime, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network, wherever good pods are sold.
Do you find it hard staying optimistic with all the financial news in the media? I'm Bernard Hickey, and on my podcast, When the Facts Change, I'm here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of economics in Aotearoa. So join the conversation every Friday on When the Facts Change, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with KiwiBet.
The Spin-Off Podcast Network.